Hey lovelies, you're welcome back to Reviews and Recaps. Today I want us to talk about Latricia, aka Trish. I feel like she has a lying problem and we need to get to the bottom of it. Now, she was saying one thing in relation to her interactions with Martell Holt, and then in another vein, she's saying something completely different. Let's talk about it. Who's the liar? Who's telling the truth between Martell and her? Are they both liars? Let's get into it. But before that, I want you to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, hit that share button. All of these things help with the algorithm, so it helps push the content out. So if you're thinking, how can you support a girl like me? That is how you support me. So please do that. Now, let's get into today's video. So there was a scene with Destiny, Stormy, and Trisha at the gym, and they were talking about Martell Holt. Now, Destiny asked Trisha if her and Martell were sneaky links before, and Trisha said no. So then Stormy follows up and says Martell mentioned that they were linking up together at his house. Trish then says, no, she never made it to the house. But it's just weird. Now, if you guys remember, Martell and Stormy, when they were having the conversation, Martell basically said to Stormy that they hung out a couple of times. So on the one hand, you have Martell saying they hung out a couple of times. Then you have Trisha saying she never made it over to the house. I think what makes everything so weird for me outside looking in is she basically said it was a long time ago, I think about 4 years ago, right? So it must have been when Martell and Melody were going through things, like with the divorce. And it's interesting because when you think about the way Trish has been behaving, she has been seeming very guilty, weird, can't even speak up when it comes to Martell issue. It's just weird. So I do wonder whether there was an overlap between when Martell and Melody were married and with her and Martell, because it just doesn't make sense. Like, why are you making it such a thing that you guys knew each other? Why were you so irritated that he didn't say hello to you? Like, why are you so pressed? Why are you so bothered? If he doesn't say hello, he doesn't say hello, and that should be the end of it. Like, why is that such a big deal? If you guys were not in some way intertwined or invested, or if nothing happened between you guys. I also think it's diabolical for her to then go on to tell Ken and then say, oh, Martell acted like he didn't know me. Guy, what are you like, why would you tell your man that? Because then your man is trying to defend your honor when you have been over at his house. Like, why do people put themselves in mess and then wonder how they got in that mess? She was the one that did that. Now, I'll explain in a moment why I feel like she has a little lying problem. But I want to talk about this issue first, then I'll break it down why I feel like she has a lying problem. So when she was asked, has she been to his house? She said no. She denied it completely. But then what is interesting is that now Trish is completely changing her tune. She was basically saying that she was waiting for Martell to say that. If you're waiting for Martell to say that, why didn't you just say it yourself? Why? Like, that is so weird. And then Trish said she couldn't remember for sure at the time that she had been to his house. Like, that, who do you think we are? Like, you went over to Martell's house. Before you say you've never been there, you should have said, I actually don't recall. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to, I know he invited me, but I can't remember whether or not I went. I need to double check, see if I can find anything in my notes or something, or in our messages. I just feel like it's so odd that you said it like it's gospel, like no. But then later on, you're saying you couldn't remember for sure at the time. That's not what you said at the time. I think people don't understand that when you say no or yes, that's very emphatic, right? It's not like you said, no, I can't remember, or I'm not sure, but I don't think so. That's different. And I feel like for you to say no and be like, nah, like this ain't happen, And then all of a sudden you're saying you can't remember. It's just like, what are you doing? It's clearly like you have a little bit of a lying problem going on, and I'm not here for it. Ken basically asked her, what makes you not remember that you've been to somebody's house? And she's like, oh, it was for the gym. It was not that important. And I'm like, either way, if anyone should ask me today, have I been to certain folks' houses? I will be able to answer that, especially if it's in the last 4 years. Now, maybe in the last 20 years, and if that's the case, I would say, wow, that's 20 years ago. I obviously can't remember, right? Like, I'm not about to be out here being like, oh, no, definitely not. When in fact, I'm not sure or I can't remember. I just wish she would remember that this is being recorded and anything you say can and will be used against you. It's just like, you're on TV. We're going to watch it all play out. So you're better off being honest and taking a hold of that narrative and you pushing the narrative you want out there by telling the truth. But you directing it because it's coming out of your mouth directly, as opposed to waiting for someone like Martell to expose you, which is exactly what he did. You were playing a silly game by acting like, oh, I don't know why Martell didn't say hello to me, when you know fully well why he didn't say hello to you. Now you decided you want to play in his face, and now he's calling you out and letting the world know that you guys were hanging out. Now, I know we don't trust Martell as being a source of anything that is true, but what we have also seen is Martell has a way of exposing what people do not want to expose about themselves. So to an extent, when it pleases him, he knows how to expose people, which is generally in line with the truth, right? Now, it is interesting because now it's not like she's not saying that she went to his house. Now she's admitting that she went to his house. So Martell was telling the truth after all on this occasion. The other thing that makes me feel like Trish is not to be trusted and has a lying problem is, do you guys remember the way she was talking about the divorce? It was very, very sketchy. The timeline was moving very sketchy. But even beyond that, the part that got me is the fact that Ken is saying that she told him that the divorce is on the way. She's just waiting for him to sign papers or something from his end. When in reality, she's not even filed anything. There is no paperwork. So it's like, that's someone that is dishonest. Let's not also forget that Ken says, that means we're even assuming that Ken is a source of truth. But Ken said he didn't even know she was married at the time in which he was dating her. He thought that she was divorced. That is someone that is dishonest, because why not tell someone that you are now dating the truth and just say, yo, we're separated. We're not officially divorced, but we're separated. Instead, you continue to date him for a while before you told them the truth. That is terrible. That's what someone that is dishonest would do. So I feel like the way Trish is showing up, I don't believe moving forward that anything she says, I would believe it. I feel like anything she says, I will take with a grain of salt, because I cannot trust the validity of what she's telling us, because she's not consistent in her narrative. And also, we've seen a lot of lies in what she says. And I don't think holding her and being like, oh yeah, Trish said this, so we believe that's true. No. We may not like Martell, but in this situation, sounds like Martell is telling the truth and Trish is the one that is lying here. Now, what I would like to find out is, when can we now get the true timelines? When did this happen? Was this when he was still with melodyshari? I will not be surprised. Like, what is to stop him from cheating with one other person when he had a long-term paramour in the form of arionnecurry? Now, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, hit that subscribe button, and tap that bell button right next to it so you know every single time that I post. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you. Bye.